Hey there everybody, this is Mystic Games. I'm going to do a video on Palworld versus Pokemon and the drama currently going on. There's a lot of YouTubers and Twitch people and just a lot of people commenting about the, controversy, we'll call it. I'm not in agreement nor disagreement on either side in the sense of who's right, who's wrong. Are things stolen? I'm intrigued to see where it goes. What I will say is that essentially, just so for anyone who doesn't know, people are upset with Palworld because they think Palworld stole assets and stuff from Pokemon and other essentially monster tamer games in a general sense. But people are just upset also because of the success of Palworld. People are obsessed because are upset because of the moral implications they feel of having guns in Pokemon and killing creatures. People are comparing it to Ark and saying that they're stealing from Ark. People are saying they're stealing from Pokemon. We'll see at the end of the day where it goes. I've seen, things that I'm like, yeah, that seems kind of blatant. And then I've seen things where I'm like, that doesn't seem like that big of a deal to me. So, I will say, Palworld is a survival like base builder, monster taming game, whereas Pokemon is more of an RPG. So there's quite a difference in my opinion, and that's pretty much where you come down to the basics of the whole drama around it. So what I want to really get into, the meat and of this video is going to be, what can Pokemon do better? And I think that this game has pulled a lot of people like myself who are big fans of Pokemon. And I know I just deleted my save. I plan on doing a stream. I did a little bit playing around on this. I do find this enjoyable. I think Pokemon can take this as a learning opportunity and try to make their games better. So I think Pokemon has a very, very niche, structure that they have set up for almost every game. And yes, they changed the story, but it's essentially an RPG. You're fairly restricted to what you can do. I believe the new one's a little different. I haven't played it. The last ones I played were Shield and Sword. But it's kind of frustrating when you go through and they're like, you cannot go to this gym leader until you beat this gym leader or until you unlock Cut. You shouldn't. I feel like they need to step away from the RPG or the closed RPG and start looking at maybe open RPG and doing more of an open world free reign. I also believe that they really restrict Pokemon, and this was like a whole thing way back. I want to say, I think this was Shield and Sword, where they're saying they didn't have assets, and then it was found out that they really didn't need to do that much to actually re-add the assets, and it was just more like they didn't want to do it because they hold Pokemon, I feel like it's very weird to me that they're very restrictive on how you can get Pokemon. They essentially sell you 2 games, and this is legitimately a fact, right, to capture all the Pokemon. And most of the time you can't even capture all the Pokemon, but they essentially set it up so you have to buy either both games or have find a friend that has the other version, and then you're set up to trade, which is a prehistoric thought in my world nowadays, especially with how everything's so easy to access. So here are my ideas for Game Freak Nintendo, things that they can do better and things they can learn from Palworld's success, I want to say, and really look to try to make games better for their players. So I'm just going to use Kanto as the base because this is really my thought on how they could do things better. So you do Kanto, right? You do an open world RPG where there's kind of a story, but you can go anywhere you want. If I want to go face Brock first, that's fine. If I want to go face Lieutenant Surge first, that's great. If I want to face Giovanni, I can. There shouldn't be any blocking. There shouldn't be Giovanni's going to be level 50, so if you can go face him, but he's going to just kill you. No. So Pokemon did a anime on, I want to say it was on YouTube on their channel. It might have been Game Freak's channel, I can't remember. But they did one based on Red. So for anyone who doesn't know, Red is Ash essentially, but for the Pokemon games. and it was really nitty gritty too. So people talking about the morals of killing Pokemon and stuff. Pokemon is pretty dark, man. They don't show you, and it's because it's a kids show, man. They just don't do it. Like, they talk about Pokedex entries and stuff, like Pokemon eating or killing people essentially, and you just don't see it in the game. So that was another thing that I was going to bring up with the Palworld thing that really kind of rubbed me the wrong way. People are like, oh, well, Pokemon, you know, you hurt your Pokemon. I mean, you literally fight with your Pokemon. That's what they're there for. Like, you take them to a gym and go, my Pokemon's stronger than yours. And if you're not, your Pokemon gets just beat up and then you lose, right? You obviously faint and then you go back to the Poke Center, but you are essentially just using your Pokemon like gladiators in a coliseum. And if you don't see it that way, that's good for you, but you're lying to yourself. So, simply put, that's what I'm going to say about that part with the moral dilemma with Palworld versus Pokemon. To me, there isn't that much of a difference. But back to the Kanto thing. So I think if they should just make a region, do Kanto, make it more accessible, open world, you know, make bridges or do what you need to do so that people can get around to these zones in different cities to face the gym leaders. All 151 Pokemon should be catchable, up to Mew. And you could do multiple things. They could do servers kind of like Palworld did if they wanted to go that route. Or they could just simply put like legendaries respawn. And I'll get to why I would say that. Because I think there should be a co-op mode, at least 2 people, if not more. And you should be able to like capture it, and then your friend should be able to capture it. And you guys should be able to play the game in a sense where you can do co-op versus like gym leaders. And maybe you're restricted to 6 Pokemon, but 3 from you, 3 from them. But you should be able to have your own 6 Pokemon, right? But I feel like they need to release like Kanto, let you capture everything, and then build Johto later with like the basic schematic of the basic idea. And you should be able to travel back and forth. We're almost talking like an MMORPG, but you don't have to do an MMORPG. I don't think that's necessary. I just think a small ability to play with 2 to 4 friends and have your world, and then have them release games like as I said, Johto would be the same idea up to 251 or 252, whatever it goes to. And it would be 152 to that. And you would have like that world to explore. But they should scale difficulty probably by the badges. You know, they should be able to let you go face a gym leader and have a co-op double badge. And I would actually make like a co-op double badge a thing, and then I would have a boulder badge single player badge as well, because you could always do it like, you can always go back and face Brock, we'll just put it that way, and he'll reset like weekly. But maybe the first time you do it, you're playing with your buddy, right? And you guys go through the whole game, you're just getting your badges, right? And then the next week, you're like, I'm gonna go beat Brock again, and because he resets, and I want to do it alone. When you beat him, it'd be cool if he like literally is like, oh, this is your first, you know, this is your first single player badge, and I'll fake, you know. And then when you beat him, you get the single player badge, essentially. Like badges, like if you were to do it this way, I would think badges would have to unlock some sort of increase in money or discounts, because you'd want to make this more of a game that you're going to come back and you're going to keep grinding at. You'd probably want to do like trainer, I think a cool thing they could do too would be like trainer drop rates, where maybe trainer Timmy, you know, in the beginning area, drops a potion, he has like a 15% chance, and as you gain more badges, it gives you a passive buff, maybe up to 25-30%. Every time you beat him, he'll give you a potion kind of thing, on top of your money reward. I would also recommend that they increase shiny rates. I think that would be very helpful for people that like to grind shinies, and I'm not saying like, you know, don't make them not rare, but make them like maybe a 5 or a 10% once you get the shiny medal. Like, these things shouldn't be super hard to find. You could also do like a tournament mode, like once you get 4 badges, maybe you can do a single co-op PvE where you enter a 8-man tournament or a 16-man tournament if it's co-op, right? And you face people from that region, like you might face Ash or Gary or Blue or Red, depending on how you want to go about it. or maybe a team up with Brock and Misty. You know, like just use trainers that are knowable from the region, and maybe some that aren't as knowable, and that's kind of who you face throughout the tournament. And you go through your 4 rounds, or is it 3? It'd be 3, right? 1, yeah, and then you get to the finals. So it'd be 3 rounds, and then if you beat them, you get some sort of tournament, marker. It's just something to do, is what I'm getting at. It would be cool to like bring characters in from like that region. Base building, in my opinion, should be in Pokemon. I don't know why they don't do base building. I feel like that'd be something really interesting to do. You could like have some level of collecting resources, but you could also just say like the reason you want to go back and face Brock again, maybe you're going to grind Brock for money every week, right? Like gym leaders would probably give more than the trainers would, and you can go back and you can grind him for money. So that's something cool that they could do. And then you can make a house with your friends, and maybe you have some level of design choice, right? And maybe there's items that you can only buy, or walls that you can only buy, that is going to make you want to play the game more to get some custom stuff in your house. Or maybe there's a beanbag of Pikachu, right? And it costs $1,000 Poké Dollars, whatever you want to call them, and you want to go grind the money so you can have that Pikachu, beanbag in your house. Like, these are things that would be really cool that Pokemon could easily do with what they have access to. Pretty much it comes down to more freedom, less restriction, and just small loose stories. Like, have Team Rocket there, that's fine, but make it like I run across Team Rocket and then you beat them, and then maybe they mention something, and then later you're like, oh, they mentioned this, something about I'm trying to think of the names. I'm just thinking about Brock City. So it's Pewter City, right? So you go back to Pewter City, and then maybe you find them again, and you beat them there, and they send you to another city, and then maybe it leads to something, And maybe it's randomized, so you're not always going to find them in that city. Like, maybe you have to actually look around the world to even start that little mini quest. There's a lot of stuff that they could do, right? Once you beat that, they should make Johto, and they should do like a DLC, right? So you have a DLC for Johto, you pay for the money, because obviously they're trying to get their money. And I want to say Johto's like 152 through like 252 or something like that. I'm sure somebody's going to know that off the top of their head. But essentially 2nd generation. You do the same like schematic, right? But instead of just saying like this is a brand new game, it's completely separate, I would make it as part of the world. It's just a different part. Like, I'm traveling to Johto. I think actually Johto and Kanto in the map are actually, you could probably connect them the way they're laid out. So you could actually, once you pay for the DLC, there could be a gate or something that opens up or comes down in your world that allows you to get over to Johto, essentially, and load in. And you can start there. You can go to the professor there and get like your starter, and you can replay like from the beginning, like if you want, or you can just use your Charizard that's level 80 at this point, and you can just blow through the gyms. I just feel like Pokemon has a lot of ability to grow and expand, and I feel like they've tried in certain ways, and I feel like they need to grow and expand with their community. And I feel like just some things they do sometimes make me not want to play their games. And simply, like, if I want to go capture up to the maximum amount of Pokemon right now, I should be able to. And the fact that I have to get a app, pay money for them to transfer a Pokemon to this game, to that game, is just, to me, it's absurd. I know people are going to get upset that I say that because they love Pokemon, but to me, that's just highway robbery, guys. Like, there's no reason for that. They have the full means to do these things and still get their money and make a great game. And I feel like, and this is a lot with gaming in general, I feel like a lot of games these days are so focused on making money that gameplay comes second a lot of the time, and it's unfortunately sad. Anyways, that being said, guys, that's the end of my video. I appreciate everybody like watching, supporting me, watching my playthroughs of Subnautica, etc. And I appreciate everyone liking, subscribing. I would like to hear people's comments on what they think Pokemon could do better. Like, what features would you want in a Pokemon game? Like, other than what I've obviously stated. Or if you hate those, you can tell me, but I think there would be some interesting things. I'm sure I haven't even thought of them that they could add that would make the game a lot like more interesting and cooler and make you want to come back and play, and not be an unnecessary grind in a sense. Anyways, this is Mystic Games, as always. Wonderful talking to you all. I hope you have a wonderful day. See you later.